There's amber in the quiet tonight, fragile gold in the corner light. The cups are warm, the room is low, and no one seems in need to know. The window keeps the city blurred, like every truth we never learned. A little jazz, a narrow flame, a room too kind to speak your name. I watch the cream dissolve in slow, white rivers in a dark rose glow. And somewhere in that tender spin, I feel the night begin again. Not with thunder, not with fire, just with low notes and old desire. The kind that lingers when it leaves, in polished wood and autumn sleeves. Amber in the quiet, softly leaning through the air, like a love that lost its language, but still remembers how to care. Amber in the quiet, falling warm across my hands. Everything we never finished still survives in small things left unsaid. The saxophone comes in like smoke, it bends around what almost broke. Note held long, a careful ache, the kind the lonely know to make. You used to laugh before you drank, like every silence had a shape. Every pause between our words could still be called a kind of grace. Now every chair across from me holds your outline tenderly, and every record on the shelf knows what I won't admit to myself. Amber in the quiet, softly leaning through the air, like a love that lost its language, but still remembers how to care. Amber in the quiet, falling warm across my hands. Everything we never finished still survives in small things left unsaid. Outside the leaves collect like time, 1,000 endings dressed in wine. Inside the barista wipes the glass, like someone letting daylight pass. I should have said the honest thing before the weather learned to change, but now I dress regret in jazz and let the evening take the blame. If I could keep 1 hour whole, I'd keep this room, this cup, this soul, the breath of rain, the muted street, the slow defeat that felt like peace. Amber in the quiet still glows after people go, like the last chord of a ballad, only tired hearts would know. Amber in the quiet, stay until the lamps turn blue. Let me sit here with the beauty of having once been close to you. The night folds up its velvet coat. The piano leaves one final note, and in the hush that follows through, the amber stays, but not with you.
Midnight between cups, that's where the truth gets stressed. Not in tears, not in fire, just in what we leave unguessed. The table's crowded with good manners, 2 warm drinks and 1 old wound. We speak in tailored little phrases, as if sorrow might excuse the room. Your fingers tap against the saucer, like you're trying not to stay. I wear a smile that looks expensive, and let my heart look the other way. It's strange how grace can hurt this much, how soft departures bruise the most. No one breaks and no one begs, and still the air fills up with ghosts. Midnight between cups, that's where we slowly came undone. Not with war, not with blame, just a silence too well done. Midnight between cups, where your goodbye wore velvet shoes, and I learned some loves collapse without ever making news. The trumpet from the speaker sighs, like someone older than regret. The city hums below the glass, while I rehearse what I won't say yet. You say we changed in honest ways, and maybe honest still can kill, because the kindest thing you said was also what broke me still. A beautiful ending is dangerous, it leaves no villain to resist. Just one clean check, one closing door, and one long memory kissed by mist. Midnight between cups, that's where we slowly came undone. Not with war, not with blame, just a silence too well done. Midnight between cups, where your goodbye wore velvet shoes, and I learned some loves collapse without ever making news. I keep replaying little scenes, the coat you folded on the chair, the way you looked above my shoulder, like the future waited there. I should have been less polished then, less composed and less afraid, but pride looks good in low-lit rooms until you find out what it pays. If I had one more honest minute, I'd ruin all my careful lines. I'd tell you losing with style still means losing every time. Midnight between cups now lives in every cafe booth, in every lamp, in every chord, in every half-disguised truth. Midnight between cups. You left before the night was through, and I still hear your absence in the clink of porcelain and blue. They stack the chairs, they dim the room. The last train carries off the dark, and somewhere between two empty cups, you leave a permanent remark. Saffron smoke in a crystal room, low light leaning in over bloom. You were a flame in tailored skin, and I still breathe you in. Your voice moves slow like aged red wine, a little sweet, a little dark. You touched your cup and crossed your legs, and lit the shadows like an arc. I watched the room adjust to you, the way night flowers tilt to heat, and all my clever little lines fell unfinished at your feet. There are some people who arrive and change the temperature of space, not with noise but with a softness that stays long after they've escaped. Saffron smoke, curl around the dark for me, bring back the slow confession of your eyes across the steam. Saffron smoke, linger where the jazz hangs low. You left the room so gently, but your fire refused to go. The drummer kept a lazy pulse, as if the night had no outside, and every chord the piano played pulled my pride a little wide. You said my name like velvet cloth, like something worthy of your mouth, and now no one says it quite the same. No matter where I try to drown it out, memory is such a costly scent. It follows coats and candle wax. I wear it like a quiet stain, and call it poise when it comes back. Saffron smoke, curl around the dark for me, bring back the slow confession of your eyes across the steam. but your fire refused to go. Now every polished little bar feels like a shrine to what I lost. Every glass of something amber tastes a little like the cost. I thought desire would soften out, become a story I could hold. Instead it learned to dress in jazz and haunt me beautifully in gold. If I could ask the night one thing, not for forever, not for truth, just one more hour in that room to let my hands remember you. Saffron smoke, rise again and fill my chest. You were never mine for long, but somehow stayed the best. Saffron smoke, turn this ache to elegance, make longing sound like trumpet and heartbreak move like dance. The candles bow, the tables gleam, the city drowns beneath the dream, and somewhere in the thinning glow you still ascend like saffron smoke. Fifth sip of evening, I always think of you. Not first, not all at once, but the way old songs come through. The first sip tastes like weather, the second one like thought, the third is where the room goes soft, and fourth is where you're not. But by the fifth the truth comes in, without a coat, without disguise. You still live somewhere in the pause between the sugar and the sighs. Funny how the heart waits patiently until the lights are dim enough, then sends its finest grief to speak in tones that almost sound like love. The fifth sip of evening always brings you near, like a melody too gentle for anyone but me to hear. The fifth sip of evening turns the room a deeper gold, and all the words I never gave grow honest as the coffee cools. clarinet begins to wander like a man with nowhere planned, and I follow every wind and phrase as if it might lead back to your hands. You taught me warmth could still be sad, that closeness had a fade in art, that some departures leave behind a lamp forever in the heart. I've worn composure long enough to know the price of looking fine. No one sees the flood arrive when jazz and memory align. The fifth sip of evening always brings you near, like a melody too gentle for anyone but me to hear. The fifth sip of evening turns the room a deeper gold, and all the words I never gave grow honest as the coffee cools. The waitress smiles, she knows my face, the way routine can shelter pain. I pay, I stay, I fold the napkin like neatness could revise the rain. But love does not obey the form of tidy men and pressed attire. It leaks through cups and piano chords and sets old weather back on fire. If time is mercy, let it be a little slower in this place. Let me hold the final taste of your name inside this grace. The fifth sip of evening still returns your silhouette, not enough to call you back, enough to keep me delicate. The fifth sip of evening teaches lost to sing in tune, and turns one ordinary table into a private moon. The cup runs thin, the night grows wide, the city buttons up in blue, and in the last warm trace that lingers, I am still sitting here with you. I'm still sitting here with you.
light is low and kind, the kind that makes so longing look almost redesigned. A little table near the door, a little rain on cobblestone, a little wine beside the cup, and somehow I am not alone. The guitarist barely brushes time, the room moves with a velvet sway, and every lantern in the street looks like a thought you meant to say. Some nights don't ask for happiness, they only ask for style and breath, a way to hold what's gone and still let beauty sit beside the deaf. Rudder lanterns keep this hour soft and slow. I have a heart too full of autumn and nowhere urgent left to go. Rudé lanterns glow on my unfinished past, make every fading step of love look like something built to last. You once arrived in olive silk with laughter hidden in your throat, and when you sat the whole cafe seemed suddenly to learn its note. We talked in half-finished philosophies, in weather records, books and skin, and somewhere in that easy dark I let the whole world fold within. But every street with golden lamps eventually grows thin and far, and every love that taught you grace leaves a little shadow in the heart. Rudé lanterns keep this hour soft and slow. I have a heart too full of autumn and nowhere urgent left to go. Glow on my unfinished past, make every fading step of love look like something built to last. Now I return for no good reason, except the soul prefers a scene where memory wears better shoes and sorrow keeps its collar clean. A little boss, a little rain, a little ache in perfect taste, and all the things I should regret dissolve like sugar, not like waste. If I can't have you back tonight, then let me have the contour of you in lantern light and nylon cords, and everything this street still knew. Rudé lanterns carry me through amber air. I'll make my peace with elegance if longing has to meet me there. Rudé lanterns shine until the last cafe, and let me call this beautiful, though it still hurts me this way. The rain turns thin, the lamps burn small, the last laugh fades beyond the wall, and down that narrow glowing street my heart walks home in quiet feet. 3 chairs from the piano, that's where I take my night. Close enough to catch the dust, far enough to hide in light. The pianist wears tired black and plays like he forgives the room. Each chord arrives without a rush, as if heartbreak had learned perfume. I sit beside the vibraphone and watch the glasses catch the glow. The whole cafe seems built for those who've loved too much to call it so. You'd think by now I'd choose another seat, some cleaner view, some lighter bar. But grief is strangely loyal to places where you used to are. 3 chairs from the piano, I hear you in the left-hand chords, in every brushed and patient rhythm, in every note I can't ignore. keep my loneliness in tune, not loud enough to startle anyone, just deep enough to fill the room. You once leaned in to hear the solo, your chin above your folded hand, and smiled before the trumpet rose, like you already understood the band. Now even strangers looking up can break me for a second flat, because absence is an art form too, and I've become too good at that. I order one more cup than needed, stay one set longer than I should, because leaving feels too much like proving that gone is really gone for good. 3 chairs from the piano, I hear you in the left-hand chords, in every brushed and patient rhythm, in every note I can't ignore. 3 chairs from the piano, I keep my loneliness in tune, not loud enough to startle anyone, just deep enough to fill the room. The vibraphone begins to shimmer like rain dressed up in silver thread, and all the thoughts I kept so folded rise and sit up in my chest. It's odd how music can be faithful to the things we try to lose. A song does not bring people back, but it can teach a wound to move. If you walked in, I wouldn't run, I wouldn't beg or try to mend. I'd only ask you sit with me and hear the song before it ends. 3 chairs from the piano, that's where your shadow still appears, in every set, in every quiet, in every well-composed veneer. 3 chairs from the piano, the place where autumn speaks in blue, and I have almost learned to live with hearing every chord as you. The trio packs, the room grows wide, the candle bends the street outside, and I remain coat over arm. 3 chairs from where you broke my calm.
Walnut and rain, that's what this room is made of now. Dark wood, dim light, slow stains, and things I never said out loud. The walls are lined with lacquer brown, and every table hums a prayer. The organ breathes beneath the chords, like old forgiveness in the air. You love these places made of shadow, where nothing had to shine too hard, where warmth came from the grain of wood, and people wore their hearts like art. Now every drop against the glass writes backward letters of your name, and every note the sax lets fall returns me to the same. Walnut and rain, hold me till the room turns blue. I have become the kind of man who hears whole weather thinking of you. Walnut and rain keep pouring through the low-lit air. Love left slowly, but it stayed in every polished surface here. The coffee's bitter at the edge, but soft enough to keep me still. A little like the truth of us, too late to change, too real to kill. You once said sadness looked good on jazz. I laughed because I thought you lied. Now every brushed and patient beat feels like a map of what survived. There are no dramatic endings here, just coats, receipts, and subtle ache. The kind of pain that learns good posture and smiles before it starts to break. Walnut and rain, hold me till the room turns blue. I have become the kind of man who hears whole weather thinking of you. Walnut and rain keep pouring through the low-lit air. Love left slowly, but it stayed in every polished surface here. The saxophone leans into sorrow like someone practiced in restraint, and I can't tell if I am healing or only decorating pain. But even that can be a mercy, to shape the hurt and let it sing. To know that loss can still sound human when autumn gives it strings and wings. If I must miss you, let it be in rooms that know how to be kind, with coffee dark and organ warm and rain enough to blur the time. Walnut and rain, you taught my memory how to stay, not sharp enough to make me run, just soft enough to ruin the day. Walnut and rain still move beneath my tailored comb, and every elegant cafe becomes a place where you go on. The rain lets up, the wood stays warm, the door sighs shut against the storm, and in the grain beneath the stain, I hear your footsteps once again.
Paper moon, espresso, silver spoon and scarlet grin. Everything looks easy till the memory walks in. You wore your laughter like a cufflink, sharp enough to catch the light, and every little glance you gave could turn a cafe into night. We traded jokes like contraband across a table dressed in steam. You made the whole room swing in time like trouble dressed as something clean. I should have known by how you smiled that charm was only half the art. The other half was disappearing right after taking someone's heart. Paper moon, espresso, spin me through this polished tune. Let the brass look brave and bright while I pretend I'm over you. Paper moon, espresso, bitter shot and velvet shoe. I still taste your clever leaving in everything I order through. The clarinet starts cutting corners through the rhythm of the room. The drummer rides the edge of midnight like he's got nowhere else to bloom. I laugh along with strangers, well, I wear the evening like a tie, but underneath the polished swing my pulse still misses your reply. That's the trick with jazz and heartbreak. They both know how to move with grace. They keep the room from seeing clearly what's happening behind your face. Paper moon, espresso, spin me through this polished tune. Let the brass look brave and bright while I pretend I'm over you. Paper moon, espresso, bitter shot and velvet shoe. I still taste your clever leaving in everything I order through. You left no wreckage worth repeating, just a room that looked the same, which is exactly why it haunts me, how softly style can carry pain. A trumpet laughs above the bar, and I almost laugh along until the solo turns a corner and calls you back into the song. If charm was all we ever had, it still was something worth the brew. Some people leave you in disaster, some leave you in a three-piece blues. Paper moon, espresso, keep the rhythm clean and high. Let me dance with what I lost and not collapse beneath the light. Paper moon, espresso, last call in a golden room. I'll raise this little bitter cup to the way you made me swoon. Right cymbal fades, the candles lean, the room goes soft, the brass goes thin, and under all the borrowed swing I fold your smile into my coat.
Ashes in the foam, that's what memory looks like now. Something light above the dark, trying not to settle down. The baritone moves through the room like midnight dressed in tailored black, and every low note seems to know exactly what I can't take back. The milk curls softly through the cup, a pale surrender in the roast, and all at once I think of how you left without becoming ghost. No, you stayed in sharper ways, in habit, air, and aftertaste, in every gentle thing that proved how elegant a wreck could be. Ashes in the foam, floating where your lips once were. Love burns slow, not bright enough to warn me of the end of us. Ashes in the foam, beautiful and nearly gone. Still I watch them turn and fade, like all the words I sat upon. You were never cruel with leaving. That's the part that lingers most. No slammed door, no righteous thunder, just a room that lost its pulse. And I, too proud to interrupt the script of all my calm control, sat there while the evening took the only weather I called home. Now every polished little sadness feels rehearsed and almost kind, until one note from the piano opens everything behind. Ashes in the foam, floating where your lips once were. Love burns slow, not bright enough to warn me of the end of us. Ashes in the foam, beautiful and nearly gone. Still I watch them turn and fade, like all the words I sat upon. Is nearly stripped of people. Only glass and jazz remain, the sort of hour that tells the truth without requiring any name. I wonder if you think of me when cafes close and streets turn blue, or if I live alone inside the season that I made of you. If I had one more chance to lose my dignity in something true, I'd trade these careful silences for one unfinished night with you. Ashes in the foam still circle where I rest my hand, as if love leaves a final heat no winter fully understands. Ashes in the foam, slowly sinking through the dark, and I am left to drink the proof that beauty can outlive the heart. The lights go dim, the register sighs, the last stool leans, the city dries, and in the bottom of the cup your leaving settles into dust. After hours, autumn, chairs turned over, lights gone soft. The room exhales its final warmth and leaves me with what love has cost. There was a time your laughter filled these narrow walls with living gold. Before the air grew careful thin, before our story learned the code. We were not reckless, not dramatic, just human in a measured way. The kind of love that sets the table, then forgets what it meant to say. And maybe that is why it hurts, not like a wound, but like a hymn, something beautiful and unresolved, still echoing beneath the skin. After hours autumn, I can finally name the truth. You were warmth and I was distance, and we both called it youth. After hours autumn, I sit inside the closing sun, thanking what I could not keep for teaching me where I belonged. The trumpet speaks in fragile bronze, the sax replies in midnight blue, and every instrument seems wiser than the man who once loved you. I kept my feelings like fine silver, polished, hidden, put away, as if restraint could somehow save the things I failed to fully say. But love was never made for glass or for the safety of display. It asks for clumsy open hands and leaves when we perform the grace. After hours autumn, I can finally name the truth. You were warmth and I was distance, and we both called it youth. After hours autumn, I sit inside the closing song, thinking what I could not keep for teaching me where I belong. Still there is mercy in this room, in coffee grounds and fading light, in knowing loss can still be lovely if you let music hold it right. So here's to every Rain Street window, every low lamp, every tune, every little city cafe that let me heal by staying blue. If I don't see you anymore, let me at least bless what we were. Some loves are not for keeping, but for becoming who we are. After hours autumn, take this ache and make it art. Lay it gently in the piano, let the brushes sweep my heart. After hours autumn, when the final chord is through, I will leave this room more human for once having loved you. The key turns slow, the streetlights bloom, the last note lingers in the room, and somewhere in that tender end, autumn begins again.